Well, if you're faced with a situation that you want to change, there's basically two main choices. You can find a solution, or you can remove the cause of the problem. And removing the cause of the problem is much more advisable and much more effective, because, you know, we can run around trying to find solutions when what we need to do is to remove the cause of the problem, and then we don't need a solution. And the cause of the problem is that we have been manipulated into a five-sense body-computer-mind level of perception. Now, what this creates is a false identity, so that we look in the mirror and we think the reflection is who we are, when that's the reflection is the vehicle that we are experiencing and allowing us to experience this reality as the body-computer conduit to this virtual reality universe. And if we come from that level, that false self-identity, we are going to think in terms of limitation. I can't, I have no power, little me, what can I do? And therefore we're going to look to others to protect us, to tell us what to think, and all the rest of it. Fundamental to everything is moving our point of observation from I am the reflection in the mirror to I am infinite consciousness having an experience. I am not my name. I'm not David Icke. David Icke's the name of my experience. It's not who I am. I am all consciousness. So are you. So is everyone listening to this program. So is everything in all existence. So once you move that point of observation, your life starts to change. You stop thinking in terms of I can't, you stop thinking in terms of limitation, and you stop thinking in terms of fear, because consciousness and awareness of itself has nothing to fear. And one of the things I say to people is, when you're in a situation, ask yourself, what would consciousness do? And would consciousness riot because of something it doesn't like? No. Would consciousness fight a war? No. Would consciousness fear authority and therefore keep its head down and its mouth shut? No. Once you come from consciousness, that's your level of self. That fundamentally changes everything. And then we need to look at taking control of the body computer, with nothing wrong with it. It's a conduit to allow us to experience this reality. Without it, we wouldn't be doing that. What's happened, instead of the body computer mind serving consciousness, it's become the governor of our perception. And for genetically manipulated and other manipulated reasons, that's exactly what it was, the position we were supposed to be in. We are manipulated through overwhelmingly the reptilian brain. So another way that we can remove the cause of the problem is to look at the traits that we get from the reptilian brain. Cold-blooded behavior, having no empathy with the consequences of our actions for other people. So let's reverse that. Let's remove the cause of the problem. So when we start to observe our behavior, when we start to fall into this lack of empathy, and instead of saying, when we're faced with choices or situations, what's the right thing to do for me, say, what is the right thing to do here? What is the fair and just thing to do in this situation? By doing that, you are disconnecting yourself from the cold-blooded me level of the reptilian brain's awareness. You are logging off that particular program. The reptilian brain perceives reality through might is right, through acquisition, through more and more. We can reverse that level of reaction response and log off from the influence of the reptilian brain on our behavior. And crucially, in all this, we can stop reacting emotionally through, quote, as scientists say about the reptilian brain and what we get from it, we can stop reacting from primitive emotional responses. Once we do that, instead of reacting out of fear, reacting out of fight or flight to situations that we face, be it a pandemic, a situation in our lives, terrorism, whatever, we calmly take a deep breath, take a step back, and look at it calmly and sensibly before we make a decision on how we're perceiving this situation. By doing that, we are disconnecting ourselves from one, if not the major mechanism of human control, which is to trigger these primitive emotional responses, all of them based on fear and the survival mechanism. Going on from that, consciousness is always has been and always will be. Consciousness doesn't die, just as we don't die, we withdraw from the body computer. That's what we ludicrously call death. It's like, if I'm sitting here when I finish this interview, I'll shut the computer down and I'll go off in the front room. Symbolically, I've died, because my computer has, its life force has been switched off, and me, consciousness, has left the room, has left the reality. So consciousness doesn't die. Consciousness is eternal. Consciousness is all possibility, all knowing. So from that point of view, what do we have to get caught in these survival responses for? We have nothing to survive, because there is no death. And the fear of death and the survival mechanisms manifest in so many ways and trigger control through the reptilian brain. Fear of death is the classic. Oh, doctor, save me. That's why we give power to doctors and the medical profession and the transnational drug cartel. It's because we have this fear of death. Fear of financial problems, fear of losing your job, fear of losing your partner, fear of what people think of you. All these are expressions of the survival mechanism, which allows access to our reality and behavior responses through the reptilian brain. So, again, deep breath. There's nothing to survive. And consciousness, if we access it and flow with it, and I know this from my own personal experience, will always provide what we need. No need to worry about it, no need to panic, no need to, oh my goodness me, what's going to happen? Flow with it and know that what you need will come when you need it. Took me a long time to relax into this, but after a while of going to the brink in my life on so many things, when it was almost about to collapse, and right at the moment it was about to collapse, the cavalry arrived in some form, and eventually I took the hint and I thought, this is telling me something. And what is it telling me? No need to worry about anything. And I stopped worrying. And my goodness me, how that disconnects you from these primitive emotional responses which control us. Yeah. You become laid back and at peace with self and at peace with the world. So I'm dealing now with all this real challenging information on one level and all these things that are going on. But I am as calm as you could imagine. I have no fear of it. I have no panic of it or anything, because I've gone into this space of everything will come to me as I need it, and I'm not going to worry about the future. I'm just going to live in the now. And that's another key thing. The understanding that there is no time. Everything happens in the now. People say, but there's a past. Okay, what happened? Where are you when you think of the past? Oh, well, I'm in the now, yeah. Where are you when you think of the future? Well, I'm in the now, yes. The past and the future are mental constructs which we experience in the now. And if we get pulled into the past of guilt and what if, and we get pulled into the future, oh my God, what's going to happen? I gotta, then we're not living in the now, and therefore we're not living in our power. And I could go on and on and on. There are so many ways that we can disconnect from the system, access our real power, and then this house of cards will come tumbling down.
Well, that's what it is. Science has come full circle. Science is always, I mean, our science is good science, but it's always been based on the physical and mechanical. We want to explain things in a mechanical way. And that's our science. And it is good science, but it's limited in what it does because of its approach on a mechanical level. If you go and look at these other cultures, you'll find that they all start from that level. Sure, you know, where everything's connected and we can affect this reality with our emotions. They start from there. And our science has been trying to figure all this out in a mechanical way, but it's got to a certain extent now where it's gone full circle and it's come back to mysticism, because that's the only way science is able to explain itself. And science is finding out there is physical and mechanical reasons for this mysticism. Like with this energy that I say people can produce, this love energy that you can produce, if you really want to look at it on a scientific level. I mean, Greg Braden explains it very well. I was talking to you about Greg Braden on the phone the other day. He explains it very well when he says that thought, we manifest this thought in our head, and that thought doesn't really mean anything unless it's imbued with emotion. And it's emotion given to the thought that creates the feeling. And this is what I was saying about this feeling that you can get, this wonderful giving feeling that you can give out to people, and it is literally an energy that you can feel, and you can replenish the energy field with this. And he's explaining that the thought happens in the top two chakras up in your head, what the Indians call chakras, but some modern scientists of our scientists just call them energy points. But they do acknowledge that they exist. The Indians and the mystics call them chakras. So the thoughts manifest in the top two energy centers. The emotion manifests in the bottom two energy centers, or the bottom three. There's three at the top and three at the bottom. And then they meet in the center. And the center is the heart. That's the heart chakra, the heart energy center. And that's what manifests the feeling. And that leaves your heart as an electrical field. Your heart is literally an electromagnetic generator. And it generates this energy. And it replenishes the field, it replenishes yourself. You can feel it when you do something compassionate, when you do something really good for someone. You can feel this stuff in your body. You get that great feeling. And if you think about it, it's a physical, tangible, electrical field that you've just generated. And it's been generated by your heart. That's what your heart does. And that's where the feeling comes from. That's where the emotion comes from. If you can realize that if you imbue a thought with emotion, it becomes this heart frequency that you give out, and that's how it works. That's how you generate this electrical field, this energy field that I keep talking about to give to other people. That's how you do it.
There's only one thing you really need to know. Infinite love is the only truth. Everything else is illusion.